During the time that I lived in Siskiyou County, I had to call the police several times for domestic violence incidences that were occurring in my home. This entire stack of papers are police reports, or rather incident reports, photographs to evidence the reason I was calling, and medical records. Many of these incident reports reflect times that the police never even responded to my house. They made this incident report and that was all that ever happened. It was never made into a police report. It was never forwarded to the district attorney's office. And whenever anybody requested copies of police reports regarding domestic violence with mine or my ex-husband's name on them, they didn't get these. There's one in particular that I want to share some specifics about. It was January 23rd, 2015. At 11:56 in the morning, I called 911. I had been separated from my ex-husband for nearly 2 years, and I'm sorry, it had been over 2 years by this time. It was nearly 3 years. And we had been in court in Wairika, California that morning. My attorney had been with me, and after court, we stayed in the courthouse for about 20 minutes to make sure that he left. The bailiffs didn't provide any assistance in ensuring that he left, and I wasn't able to receive any kind of domestic violence protection. No additional accommodations were made, even though he had threatened to kill me if I came to court. I had made other serious, incredible threats against my life and my safety. Siskiyou County doesn't have a domestic violence policy, so they don't offer any protection or consideration for victims who have to come to court with their abusers. After we left the courthouse, my attorney and I traveled in my vehicle to the Starbucks in Wairika. I was fairly new at that time, so it was kind of a novelty to go to the first Starbucks in Siskiyou County in 2015. We were there for about a half an hour or so discussing my case and going over paperwork, etc. I transported him back to the courthouse and dropped him off at his green Toyota pickup, and he inquired where a good place to have lunch would be. I recommended a place off the freeway in Central Weed, and I told him if he wanted to follow us, that we would indicate which exit he should take so that he would be able to get to where we had recommended he go for lunch. We got on the freeway, and a green Toyota pickup got on the freeway right behind us. I thought it was my attorney. That green Toyota pickup followed us from Wairika all the way down Interstate 5 to the Central Weed exit. And we turned our blinker on to indicate a right-hand exit and got into the right-hand lane to indicate that that's where he should exit. He didn't take the exit. And so I tried calling him and he didn't answer. Of course, cell phone, talking on the cell phone without a hands-free device was not legal in California at that time, so I figured he must not have a Bluetooth or something, and that was why he didn't answer. A couple miles later, traffic forced this green Toyota pickup up alongside my vehicle, and when I looked at the driver, I realized it wasn't my attorney after all. It was my ex-husband. He had been following us the entire time, and I called 911. That's where this 4-page report from California Highway Patrol begins. The California Highway Patrol officers who responded were Daniel Spafford, Matthew Horstman, and Kevin Biagi. They intercepted my ex-husband just north of Dunsmuir. They pulled him over on the shoulder on Interstate 5, and I was still on the phone with the 911 dispatcher, asked her where I should go, what I should do. She told me to take the next exit, which was Siskiyou Avenue at Hedge Creek Falls, and to pull off at a parking area there right off of the freeway and wait for an officer to respond. So a few minutes later, another CHP officer pulled up where I was off of the freeway. I had a copy of the criminal protective order with me. He reviewed it. He radioed to the other officers who were still up on the freeway with my ex-husband, and he assured me that this was absolutely a violation of the protection order and that my ex-husband was going to be arrested, finally, for the first time in all the years that he had been abusing me and stalking me and intimidating me, threatening me, harassing me, threatening to hurt our daughter, threatening to hurt my friends and family. Finally, somebody was going to hold him accountable. Then the Siskiyou County Sheriff's officers showed up, and Jeremiah LaRue in particular was on scene. He's a friend of my ex-husband's. They went to high school together, and from my understanding, my ex-husband stayed on his couch for a while when we first separated. The Siskiyou County Sheriff's Office issued a one-page CAD event, which is not a police report, and was never forwarded to the district attorney's office. They let my ex-husband go. They didn't hold him responsible. They made excuses for him. The district attorney's office never received any information to my knowledge about this event at all. He was taught, again, that there were no repercussions to his actions, that he could follow me after court, that he could stalk me even while I was meeting with my attorney, and that he could follow me down the interstate for a half an hour. And if I hadn't called 911 and CHP hadn't intercepted him, he probably would have followed me all the way home. Why would he follow me for 30 miles if he wasn't planning on following me to my next destination? And he was taught that day that that's okay, that my criminal protective order was just a piece of paper and he didn't have to abide by it. It wasn't okay then. It wasn't okay any of the other times that I called for help. It's not okay when other women call for help. It's not okay when abusers are taught that there are no repercussions to their actions. I need you to share this video and the others I've posted with as many people as you can. Tell everyone what's going on in Siskiyou County, California. Tell them about how law enforcement does not enforce protective orders. Tell them how abusers are allowed to continue to victimize, intimidate, and terrorize their victims. Tell reporters, tell lawyers, tell judges, tell your local politicians, tell every politician, tell everyone. Because at the end of this long and horrible road of a lot of government officials not doing their jobs and law enforcement officials not doing their jobs, I have a little 8-year-old girl who's in danger, who's been isolated from everything that she knows and loves and placed with this scary monster. Tell everybody, because it's not okay. And someone has to come forward and start enforcing the laws. Someone has to come forward and start requiring law enforcement to enforce protective orders. Someone has to come forward and make them look after victims the way that the law says that they should. It's not okay.